The Giants look a Super Bowl bound, man.
They, but I now, and I have forgotten his name, but I have some. My sister has some neighbors and friends that has somebody playing for the Giants, one of the running backs.
Yeah.
The last time I was up there, that was only a couple of years ago. We were watching them play. They were rooting them on.
Yeah.
So the Giants in Philly, they got a big rivalry.
Because that's where they got Saquon Barkley from, the main player. They got him from the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be him. I don't know. I done lost.
Yeah, it was him. He couldn't do that last night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because they know him well, probably.
Yeah.
This thing is, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, we're going to be giving away 7 of these tickets too. And I don't know how to do that because I don't want them coming to my house.
But it's going to be Sunday, though, huh? Yeah. Well.
University has a new police chief. Kareem Easley will be the top officer on campus. He brings more than 20 years of experience, most recently serving in that same role.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in Tuskegee, why they have such a high turnover with their police chiefs. Yeah.
Tuskegee was supposed to have the first black sheriff in Alabama.
Lowndes County.
Yeah.
Lowndes County had the first black, John Hewlett.
Tuskegee.
Sure?
First black sheriff.
I thought it was Lowndes County.
Wilcox had the second. Prince John.
Well, no, John Hewlett. Lowndes County. He was the first black chief.
No, Tuskegee.
let's see. We'll see if somebody to call and confirm which one it is. Because Hewlett became sheriff in the 60s.
I met Hewlett.
Yeah.
I told with Hewlett. Then he became the probate judge too or something.
Eventually, he became probate judge, but he was sheriff for years.
The guy was from Tuskegee.
Okay, all right.
Well, we'll put it up there.
Oh, hold on.
Matchup for Tigers tomorrow evening for 6:30 kickoff. You can hear it all right here on 1490 WHBB.
1490 WHBB. Before we continue our program this morning, let's head down the street to Cornerstone Realty, where we will talk to Ms. Jewel Williamson. Good morning, Jewel. How are you? I'm fine. What's happening? Let me do this for one moment. Let me put you on hold. We're expecting someone calling from the city. Hold on one moment. I'll be right back. I'm assuming that this is Miss Rajisha Rasol. Okay, good morning. I've got to put you on hold for a moment. We're in the middle of a commercial break. I just wanted to make sure we got you. Hold on, please. Mhm. Sorry, Jewel, but I had to do that. I had to do a little housekeeping.
No, I understand that, and I know that we all have lots of things going on, and this is a busy month. When I say it's this month, remember us this first time, because October is our month for food drive. Right? We're gonna bring in a big band to our, office. The late, the second day, to bring your food. If you want to bring them early, we have boxes at the office that we can, give you to, put it in, and we can put it in. This is just such a big help for people in this area, especially at this time of year. And, times are hard for a lot of people, so give us a chance to help these people. I do want to remind people that we have a real nice home on Pine Needle Drive. If you're interested in that rail area, this is just a good place to, come and look at this. I mean, it's super nice home. It's got everything you think of in it. So we're here to help. We're at 519 Middle Street. Our phone number is 872-441. And remember, if you see a sign in the yard, you don't have to call a person. You can call the agent of your choice, and each agent can sell anybody else's listing. So give us a call. If you like one of our people, then give us a call. We're very knowledgeable and ready to thank you for your time on giving us the time on radio.
Well, thank you so much, Joel. It is always a pleasure. I need to get this to this other line before it drops. Have a good weekend. Yes, ma'am. Okay, are you still there, Ms. Rasol? Hello. I think it. I think it dropped. Uh, uh, Go ahead if you would call me back or give me the number and I'll call them.
This number.
We'll
334-791.
hold on. Here we go one more time. Okay, here we are, right? Is that Miss Rousseau? Okay, good. I'm sorry. I was hoping that every once in a while we have a little difficulty around here. And so I'll tell you what, I'm going to let Reverend Bun do the honors to introduce you and talk about what is happening on Sunday.
Exactly. Good morning, Reverend Boyer. Yes, hello. Good morning. How are you? How are you this morning? We're here live in WTB, of course, Mr. Randy Williams, our old buddy here in the state. I want to ask you if
Thank you for having me on today. We're excited this weekend, the Alabama Fellowship with the documentary that we released on today, October 21st, directed by Andrew Dradowski and Charlotte Kaufman. And this film basically sheds the light on the true information that's going on inside of the Alabama Department of Corrections. Colonel Miller has learned that there's been inhumane treatment from unresponded death to malnutrition to health care. Really things that have happened with our loved ones inside. And a lot of folks inside of the prisons right now are serving life sentences on low drug crimes. And so, we got to continue to show what's really corrections building in Selma, Alabama. It's going to be one of the first kiosks. We're also doing for the city, the Huntsville, and also Alabama. So we are totally excited to be presented by the Ordinary People Society. That's the founder. You also see it in the documentary as well. So we are inviting everybody to come out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we understand that this tonight HBO is showing a documentary about the Alabama Solutions.
Be a premiere tonight. It's all inclusive premiere from also the HBO film crew. However, other shows will go on up until the end of this year, but the first one after this one for the community will be in Selma, Alabama.
Okay. That's this Sunday at 12 o'clock, at 1 p.m. actually, October the 12th at 1 p.m. at George P. Evans Reception Center.
Yes, we want to make sure you guys if you don't come on right. We'll start shooting, and then we'll go into our film after that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, no, I'm not done with her yet. Now, give us a little background. How did this film come about, and what is it about, and what are you hoping to accomplish with it?
So this film really came about because there was some insiders inside of Department of Corrections who was in conversation networking with our organization, which is the Ordinary People Society. And we have to realize that when we do advocacy work and you have those on the inside that are shedding the light, there's always people on the outside that's advocating for them. And so we advocated for kinetic justice with Robert Earl Jones' family. And so as we did, we are hoping to continue to provide healing and support to the families. But however, so this has been almost 20 years. We're talking about lifers that are incarcerated. And so some of our work have been followed by the people that are head sharing the sexual films. And they decided to come to Alabama. We have to realize that, whatever happens to Alabama goes all across the nation. And so finally, we have opportunity for the whole world to tune into what is happening. We're not just people in Alabama. We're doing a lot of things. However, we have to here. We continue to flag our community, continue to incarcerate our men and our women, but we have not seen no justice for families. Also, quickly, a lady named Nancy Ray, who we advocated for, whose son actually died in the Department of Corrections, who she was still seeking answers for, and her story will be told as well. So this is how this came about in our advocacy and organizing efforts throughout the South.
Well, I've got a few questions too, because in one day, if I can stop and take the time, but I wouldn't be surprised if you guys haven't already done it. But I'm just curious, I hear about when I look at New York, for instance, and many other places where violent offenders that have long histories of being violent, can seem to get out of, can be put on the street and be put on bail almost in 24 hours. But my question is, well, who's in prison? Who's being incarcerated? Are these men on child support? Are they petty crimes? Are they nonviolent crimes? If all of these violent offenders are being released, then who's in jail?
That's right, and that is a good question. And we know that the criminal legal system does not be in the problem called criminal legal system versus the justice system. There is no justice, unfortunately. These are nonviolent crimes that you're going to see on this actual film. Like you said, Alabama still has a 3-strike rollout, which is an habitual offender act. So if you are a 3-time felon, you can be sentenced to a life sentence within Alabama Department of Corrections. And so these are repeat offenders, and this is nothing but a systematic thing. Unfortunately, we have bailed out women and men that have drug problems, that have wanting to pay tickets and fines, fees that are in our city, in our county jails.
And I know failure to appear is probably a major a major gateway to prison.
Because if they're, they're going to do things like that, and they can't afford their disease, they're automatically going to go in their bond. And so, this is not about right. Once again, our Black communities are targeted. We're targeted by, and the situation. So we just have to keep that in a profile. The impacts us all. Marginalized communities are the target for incarceration. And don't forget, planning to build this mega prison now. More and more folks versus sitting in the treatment center or part of the parole to allow them to get out. More problems do that. Unfortunately, we see a lot of cars come from the White House and the federal government. We think people get exonerated, but we don't see it in the state. We're not taking it as fast as it should be.
Right. I like to piggyback off of something that about the statements of the author of the book, Just Mercy, said back in 1985. Every Black church in America should have a prison ministry. Okay, we understand that the situation in the penal system, take from someone who's been visiting the penal system since 1990, and I don't know if any other minister here in Dallas County have been into the penal system that yours truly have. So I can speak on this. What we are not doing our jobs. We're not trying to say that the other side, this is not happening, but we are not doing our jobs here. We have over 200-something churches, Black churches in the city of Selma, in this area here. We don't have 2 churches that have representatives in the penal system, the state level or the local level. So we're not doing our jobs. So when we start doing our jobs, then we could be more preventive in what goes on there. And of course, it doesn't justify the fact that our young people are treated in the penal system. But we got to do better.
Entry, the New Black Mind campaign, which is by Patrick and Glasgow, it definitely reaches out to pastors and community leaders to continue to be the beacon. So we have to remember, in the scripture, the Matthew 25:36 says, when I needed clothes, you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. When I was in prison and you came to visit me, that is part of our mission. That's part of the church's obligation to go visit the downtrodden and the sick. But let me tell you this, it is not impactful that it happens in our own backyard. It isn't until our kids get locked up, our grandchildren get locked up, or somebody that we know that we realize how closer we are to the problem.
Now, you are obviously involved and in touch with people who are incarcerated, and it sounds like with youth as well. What is your take on this? The last couple of years, there's been an unacceptable uptick of violence amongst Black teens. What's your explanation for that, and what do you think some of the solutions are?
So my background is actually youth ministry, and also I have an education degree in special education. I want to say, first of all, we have a lot to do with dealing with mental health crises. Unfortunately, it's not like we used to be, where mental illness in our family and issues, and it was just something that nobody discussed. But nowadays, it is open, and unfortunately, a lot of our young folks are resorted to vapes and different things that have all these substances that really make us correct. But besides that, I think most importantly, love is going to be the key. Like without judgment and continue to develop our programs. We're not talking about just the mainstream program. We're not talking about just come here and sit down and watch after school program, movies and things like that. We're talking about innovative programs. Folks that kids are into nowadays. They're into games. They're into, believe it or not, into home ec. They would love to learn how to cook. But we start getting our older women together with these young girls, particularly, teach them how to do homemade tea parties, men, get back out there and basketball court, with these young girls. Let's get them to drain out their energy. You have to understand, they don't know where to put their energy. Alabama is thing goes to YMCA, Boys and Girls Club. But people just can't afford it. So we can't know that this is a whole different problem that has started from early education. My last thing, invest in daycares. Daycares are huge for the children. From getting the proper nutrition, from them getting good teachers, going all the way up into Head Start. So we just have a lot of stuff we have to address. And as I said, the school and the school to prison pipeline is going to take advocates. It's going to take people that believe in the nation of God to be able to pull these kids and show them the love and support that they need and the love and support that they deserve.
So when the young people are exposed to spiritual alternatives, do they respond?
They respond. I had one of the largest programs in New York City for World Vision International, and they responded. Beautiful studies. They responded. I think more than anything, it's just getting people to care. One thing I found in Pastor Glasgow as I always we have to meet with what they are. And the thing about that is sometimes that comes with resistance. So we have to be listening to meet that resistance and understand that everybody's impacted by trauma. How do we handle trauma? That's the question of leaders. How do we handle trauma? By sharing our stories. The word says we're overcome by the word of our testimony. So we have to continue to let children know, hey, I've been there and I've done that. A 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
You've got your hands full, huh? you ought to be you pipe right into what the problems are, huh?
You're a busy lady. You are one busy lady.
Well, we're not going to hold you much longer, but again, this program that the film that's going to air in Selma on Sunday, this has been picked up by HBO and is going to premiere tonight on HBO.
Transform Alabama, Between the Walls, Transform Alabama. There's going to be something that's going to be out here on Sunday to reach you all. But if you cannot do it on HBO, or you do not have a subscription, please come out. And even if you do want to see it on HBO tonight, come out and fellowship and hear the stories for some other family incarcerated that will be at this point.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you. Are you going to be here Sunday as well?
Yes, I will be there Sunday. And we have a special treat that I have to be over 11 o'clock. You will be given the word as well. That is this way. But every time we turn home, we will flip to Dorothy Evans. You will be given a word.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to say also to our audience before you go?
I want to thank Fire Rose for always being there when I call her. The lead team, it's just an honor when we can come from our own city and come into Selma and say, just welcome over to welcome on. We're here every year from Jubilee. I just thank everybody, and we look forward to you guys coming out and doing this thing.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, and we look forward to meeting you on Sunday.
And thank you for your radio broadcast. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Reverend.
The Alabama Solution, mass screening, Soul Food Sunday, free, Selma, Alabama, October the 12th, that this Sunday at 1 p.m., George P. Evans Reception Center. Come on out. By the way, we actually are joining forces with TOPS, they call themselves the Ordinary People Society, and on behalf of TOPS, we're giving away 7 free tickets. 7 free tickets.
Now, is there a fee on Sunday?
There's no free fee, but this is for the food.
Oh, okay, I got
This
you.
is for the dinner.
Right, okay, Soul Food Sunday. Mm-hmm.
Right. We're giving away 7 free tickets for the dinner. The dinner will be served at 1 o'clock, and then the movie is the documentary is at 2.
And then, oh, good, okay. All right, now, and for the record, so I see she thanked the Fire Rose Torre. And so for the record, for my critics, I want you to understand, I don't believe in censorship. Even if I don't agree with you, bring it on. Let's debate. Let's discuss. Let's talk about it. But I don't try and shut things down simply because I have a different viewpoint. In other words, I'm not small-minded. You know, and so but this is a real serious issue. And I would like to one day do a study on how many nonviolent offenders are in prison.
Yes,
And why are they letting violent criminals with violent histories back out on the streets? They really go back into black neighborhoods and terrorize the community.
Right. But I want to go back, Randy, real quick to 1985. I believe was the young man name was Walter McMillan. Walter McMillan.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar. So what happened?
The book of Byron Stevenson, Just
Mercy.
Just
that was just, yeah. You know, and I saw a piece with Byron Stevenson here recently that really suggested that he has been doing some form of discrimination recently. Yeah. I think he must have been in a predominantly white area.
Exactly.
I don't know if it was in Alabama or where it was, but they were surprised or shocked that he was a lawyer.
Right.
And I'm surprised in the 21st.
That's what happened when he came to at the prison. Coleman State Prison.
Okay.
Where he was held there without a trial on death row.
Without a trial.
Without a trial.
Wow.
On death row. And I'm saying, but because that's what happened. It exposed the system.
Right. Yeah, and that's pretty much what happened to help him get the Equal Justice Initiative started and all of that, huh?
Montgomery, right.
I've got to do an interview with him one day. You know, I need to do my own interview.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Opened up a new restaurant.
Yeah, and hotel, I understand.
Yeah. And there's a boat actually take you to.
Well, that's good. Yeah, see, you know, we're not, a lot of us, I don't know what we're thinking about, but, you know, that Alabama River, you know, just like I was at the airing of the quilts last weekend, and they have the G's Bend, the ferry.
Right.
Well, that's the Alabama River.
Yeah, exactly.
So why can't you have a river boat excursion from Selma to G's Bend?
To G's Bend.
And go to the area of the coast instead of doing all that driving.
Because that ferry actually was taken in.
Well, I know that was going, but I'm saying, you know, from a tourism standpoint, if I was going to get serious about, I would certainly explore the possibility of having some sort of a boat excursion from Selma to G's Bend. And then you get off, then you can enjoy the area of the quilt.
Right.
And you get back on and come on. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I'm thinking outside the box.
Exactly.
You know, they have this AL 360 base that's going on. We are not, I don't know, many of us are simply not thinking outside the box. You know, there's so much that we can do with what we already have. You know, if we just be, without vision, the people perish. And if we stop allowing that ignorant, small-minded viewpoint, you know what I'm saying, dominate. That's why we got potholes.
Where there's unity.
Well, that's true, you know. But being able to get trying to reach that group of people who have not been exposed to what I'm talking, you know, the kind of people I'm talking about. That's really what it all boils down to: attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude.
And it's not just you. End of the day, Randy, it's not you.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the people we deal. I want to give a quick shout out, Randy, but a young lady I met here several weeks ago, Miss Brittany House.
Oh yeah. I think I've met Miss Hauser. I've interviewed Miss Hauser, in fact. Yeah, because she was running for office, wasn't she?
Exactly.
Yeah, she was really impressive. Yeah.
Shout out to her. I think her father was working at Walmart.
Okay.
With a runoff election.
Oh, okay.
I give a shout out to her. I don't expect officials, elected officials, should I say? You know that went on. You know whether.
I have hope that we've got the new additions to the council and the new mayor.
New mayor, yes, new mayor, Mr. Moss.
Mr. Moss, yep. And then, you know, Governor Ivey has required legally every person that's an elected official in the state of Alabama has got to go through so many hours of training with legal municipalities. So then they will all be on the same page about what you can and cannot do. You can't run city government like a church or like some other nonprofit organization. Business is business, and we need to learn that. You know, a lot of folks I know we've learned how to get elected, win elections, but we can't govern worth a hill of beans.
I got to mention my city council, Ms. Jenny Thomas.
Now she's the exception.
Shout out to
Councilwoman Thomas is an exception.
Shout out to you. Shout out to my friend, Sister Curtis. Shout out to you. And shout out to all those who
Well, even the ones like you said they weren't elected, at least they ran. You know,
Yes,
I mean, it shows that they care.
exactly.
But no, I'm looking for big things from Ms. Curtis. I know she's gonna. I already know she's gonna.
Tremendous person.
Talented, brilliant, intelligent, you know, and customer friendly.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
she knows how to smile.
Exactly.
She may even shake your hand.
Beautiful smile.
You know, I don't think she's gonna look down at you on her nose,
Right.
and try and tell you how smart she is.
Right.
But I think she's gonna work on some
I
solutions.
think so too.
You know,
And we got to move on. We can't make a pass.
This is not
People
1965.
went to the polls. They elected the ones they felt were best suitable to represent them.
Right.
Man, we got to move on.
I know that's right.
We got to move on.
Well, and then once in the elected officials, that's why I like the piece of the League of Municipalities, because what we see unfold and we have watched unfold in Selma is not uncommon. You know, why continue try to reinvent the wheel? You know, why not learn from mistakes that other people have made? You know, we too, Selma can grow just like Prattville is growing. And
Together, Randy.
that's what I'm talking about.
We can't be divided, and we grow together.
Right.
And this is one of the things, we've been talking about this for years on this campaign trail. When someone loses the election, it looks like he's this and that, or what have you. All this stuff, all this crazy stuff. We can help that actually won by 2 votes, by 20 votes, 100 votes. While we at it, we want to give a shout out to our good friend, Mr. Kennard Randolph. Mr. Randolph, City Council President.
He's going to have a full. He's already got a full plate, but my Lord, I don't know, Mr. Randolph.
Mr. Randolph, you got our prayers, Mr. Randolph.
No, he needs a good pro temp. That's what that is. Pro temp is going to have because he's already, in and out of town.
He's small enough.
Well, what is it? 4 days out of the month. But I don't know because he's on the road run a lot. He may be in New York or DC. Well, he may not be able to. And the good news is he's a young man. Now's the time to do.
Well, that's the tip.
These things are be in pretty good shape. So I guess I'd be more concerned about scheduling conflicts. This is why that's why government is structured in such a way. In a successful business is structured, an organization structured in such a way that if one person is out of place, the show goes on. The show must go on. Many of us have gotten oriented. We're so narrow-minded again. Our vision, we can't see past our nose, and so nothing continues if one link falls out of place. We got to think bigger than that. In one race, can't do it all. I hate to see all black or all white.
Exactly. The first time in a long time, in my time, there have been, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are 4.
Oh, indeed, but there are 4. We got female, we got white, we got black, so we're supposed to make this thing happen.
So it can't be a male issue.
No, that's right. Yeah, and another
thing.
thing, and I'm glad you're here because I hear all these people talk all this job about white males.
Yeah.
I'm not that insecure.
Yeah.
They did dominate at one point. So what?
Exactly.
That's history.
I gotta agree with you, Randy.
And why should I hold it against them because their forefathers did what they had to do? What's wrong with us? No, we're looking for any excuse for why we fail. If I'm not doing what I want to do, if I'm failing, it's your fault, Reverend Moore, not mine.
We should be open now, Randy, because the last 20-something years, look what they're taking. We should be open for that.
Yeah, but everybody didn't want to. Many of us are in denial.
Yeah.
And again, I think we're scapegoating and looking for an excuse as to why we can't succeed. We need to be encouraging our young people to think outside the box. Everybody is not going to be a successful athlete. Everybody is not going to be a successful entertainer. But that's what the razzle dazzle, has their attention. But man, we better hurry up and try and financial literacy, occupational literacy, because if you don't, what happens is people end up in a lot of professions that they're miserable in.
And in the midst of the shuffle, right, we have some of the most intelligent young men, young women coming back to summer with nothing to do.
Well, we got to change. We have to change that.
That's something we have to change.
Yeah, we've got to
Because if
change
you go
that.
to Tuskegee for 4 years, or
Yeah.
Alabama
A
State,
lot of
or
them want
whatever,
to come back.
they're not coming back here
Yeah.
to work at Walmart.
Well, that's the problem. But the good news is that if we have enough collective brain power, we can figure out a way to make that happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's going to take all hands on deck, and we got to have the right attitude and the right heart. I can't be jealous of you and trying to stop you or mad with you because you're doing well and all a little craziness or whatever. I don't know where we are, but at the end of the day, Pastor, Proverbs says, out of the heart flow the issues of life.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so we're in denial. We don't want to accept our weaknesses. Some of us don't even want to accept the fact that we have a problem.
We got to go back to the 4-letter word. We got to go back to the love word. We don't love each other, Randy. We got to start loving up with each other. Because even this past election, I don't want to go back and all that crazy stuff that goes on. I don't have to be in love with you to vote for you. Come on, now.
I know that's right.
If I just vote for people that I'm in love with,
right.
It defeats the purpose.
Well, unfortunately, human nature, this is why candidates, we have to, voter education is really important. And so is candidate education. You need to know how to run, and you need to know what to say and when to say it and how to say it. And you've got to find a way to minimize letting people who don't care get in these races and win.
Where we got to interact with people that we want to race, our opponents. Because see, what happens is that we see a degree of divisions around some people because he beat her or she beat him.
Right. Oh yeah, we don't. Right. We don't give it up. We're sure losers.
Exactly. So what we got to do, because it's something that she have or he have that you could use, Randy.
Well, at the end of the day, it used to be when the dust settled, then we all come together and move forward.
What that happens at the funeral home?
And that only happens for the funeral. Because if you're not careful, you go to the family house, they'll be fighting at the house over pots and pans. She gave me this, or he gave me that. We don't. That's why you got to have a will. That'll stop some of that fight. Arguing.
But I really do believe. I believe in a long time. For me, in the last 20 years, I believe this crew in city government. I believe in this crew. I believe the crew.
We stand a shot. We stand a shot at it.
I believe this crew will make things happen.
Right.
From the city council president down to the city elected officials. Right. We got one of the best crews.
Let's hope so.
We're proud of ourselves, right?
Yeah. I hope so. I'm gonna do everything I can do to help support that thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And since you want to invite that same crew to come on out, Alabama Solutions, mass screening, Soul Food Sunday, Selma, October the 12th at 1 p.m. George P. Evans, Reception 7, 2 Lawrence Street. Come on out and watch the screening and see what takes place when our young people are incarcerated in the state of Alabama State Prison, I can say,
Well, as we begin to line up on this hour, I know there are a lot of people, especially in the Black Belt, where we are 90% blue, 90% Democrat. A lot of people, but I would hope that and even when I was a lifelong Democrat, I went Republican for a couple of years. Now, and I want to go independent. I'm nonpartisan, but I hope that I would never be so blind and so full of hate. I would hate Mr. Trump so much until I would sacrifice teenagers in Chicago, Illinois, and those black neighborhoods. I'm gonna play some audio from what the folks are saying on the street in Chicago. Chicago has to be corrupt. I don't even understand. How could I get in front of a camera and say we don't have a crime problem? 25 people were just shot just over the weekend.
The mayor
and the governor. The good news is it's interracial. It's black. That's the one thing we can.
But how we balance this out in the situation that took place in Montgomery, Alabama?
Well, you see, and I'm going to play a snippet. There was an interview done on Channel 8 this week, and I played it earlier. Mr. Lee, Charles Lee. I've never met Charles, but I've been watching him from afar. And he says, he's inviting people to get involved with him. He's been, yeah, I believe so. He's been on the street for 18 years.
We need to stop the violence.
Yeah, and so he's okay. And so he says, and so for those of us who, as a matter of fact, I think I had this conversation yesterday. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop being nice, Reverend. If somebody decides that they want to challenge me on something, you better have your facts in front of you, because I'm going to start having mine to play for you.
Exactly.
For all of us to hear. You may get embarrassed.
Right.
Charles Lee said when he turned the corner downtown Montgomery Saturday night, he didn't see anything but black teenagers running for their lives. So for those who say we don't have a problem, why don't you talk about the white folks and what's happening with the white teens? Well, there were no white teens Saturday night in downtown Montgomery when 14 people were shot and 2 dead. Now, see, folks that talk all that job, they're the last ones to put boots on the ground. See, I'm tired of that. That's because they're the ones that it's that kind of thinking is why we have potholes in the streets of Selma and deteriorating buildings. That type of thinking.
And over 200 dead teenagers.
Oh, Lord.
People
Oh, Lord. Lord. I can't ignore that.
You have to stop saying what you don't have a conversation. It makes you so angry because these people, you've heard them sitting in the front lines.
They're in denial again. And the thing, and then I've been in the back of my mind, I question how much spirituality is. Any God-fearing person can see.
Randy, it starts at the head, right? I was in the courtroom. Judge 2 weeks ago, right here in the Dallas County Courthouse. I believe that day we had over 200 something people. It started from outside on the streets coming into the courthouse. It starts in the hallways. It goes all the way to district court. Just Petway is having court now. Just Petway is having court. It goes into the other courtroom. Just Marlon Wiggins, where he's right. It goes all over 200 something people in the courtroom. Watch this. I have not seen one clergy person, one minister. We have 200 churches, brother.
Wow.
In Dallas County, around the area. I've spoken personally, I've said this to you before, Randy, to judges, district judges, circuit court judges. And they said to me, I don't see nobody with them. What kind of support mechanism do they have? Right. Do they have a church?
Right.
Do they have a pastor?
The church is missing, and I would say, just as Mr. Glasgow said earlier, one of the main solutions I propose is to take them back to God. Put them back. Take the young people to Sunday school.
Church, you should preach daily. Because who's being shot down in the street?
But see, the problem is when we propose those kind of people who don't believe in prayer and people who don't believe in God.
I want to tell you how to pray.
Yeah, and then they want to dismiss all of it.
Exactly.
They don't have a solution that works, And so
they show up once in the room when there's a situation somebody fell off in the high school. And then they show up with a big time prayer.
It's too late.
But you'll see them no more.
No, they usually do it around election time, and then then it fizzles out. But let me give a shout out to Maya Jackson, and what they're doing. What is it? Arise. I got the wrong name, but
I think it's a prevention program.
It's a prevention program that works. I like to give credit where credit is due. And see, but the key about that program though is you have got to want to do better.
Yeah, you gotta want to. That's what I say to
them. I can't make you do better. You have to want to do better yourself.
That's why addicts stay addicts. They don't want to do better. We have what you call functioning addicts. And they go to work, they come home, they take care of the light bill, the water bill, but 30% of their income
It's going to drugs.
is going into alcohol. And that's why they adopted extra activity. I don't want to go into detail.
No, I got you. Right.
They're going to extra activity,
right?
Because they now have to fulfill that board, them dollars that's going in the street.
Right. Yeah. Well, and people say, well, the drug cartels in South America and from all over the world, they wouldn't be able to do this if people don't use the drugs. I say that the drug dealers are good salesmen. Yeah. So they know how to get people and addicted. Yeah. That's what they do.
Yeah. That's
that's what they do. Yeah. So we have to really watch. But at least I would rather see a functional drug addict than some sorry but do nothing.
Do nothing. Yeah.
I want to do nothing with your life. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah. Viewpoint, you still your call?
I'm sure what you don't want to know. But I just like to ask another question, just a different question from you. Have you tried to get in touch with Stephen, Brian Stephen, because
Brian Stephen.
This is our we were training their children in the 80s in order to be people in China. And our children picked up along the way those same characteristics. But I know Brian, I never came to this area, and he has had so much success. And perhaps your program could be a feeder program to circumvent young people. Because a lot of it is not on them. It's actually the way it's set up in order to, but they told me I'm very great to prison.
Well, you must have just tuned in because we brought up in the very beginning of the program, Reverend Vaughn brought up just a few minutes ago, Brian Stevenson.
We actually, Safe Haven Center, myself and Brother Muhammad, along with some other young men, we were taking 3 groups of young men to EJI. In fact, in my briefcase right now, I've got 25 tickets, because when I inquired, they said, well, those tickets can last your lifetime. Once you got a ticket, we accept them. I got 25 tickets left over for the last visit to EJI. That means 25 young men that didn't show up. 25 young men that decided, because we had to get permission actually from their parents, that we couldn't make that break. We couldn't get that permission to take it to Montgomery to EJI. We rented a van and so forth. So it's not because we personally didn't try. We tried. It's going to take a cooperative effort for this to happen, because the average 15 to 16-year-old makes his own decision in the average household that we go to. May not happen over there, but the average household that we approach with this, he makes his own decision. He tells his mother whether he wants to go to EJI or not. Once you find out what EJI is all about, he's not excited about EJI.
My mother said that. And I always said that I changed my grandmother. It's just sad what we have created in society.
All right, thank you.
We're not speaking negativity. We're saying, we said it before, we are powerful when we could come together. When we could come together, we are some of the most powerful people in the world. But we got to come to one accord.
Well, what about this? What about this, Reverend? In the 50s and 60s, when from Emmett Till's brutal murder through the Selma to Montgomery March, Reverend C.T. Vivian used to always say that Selma was the high point of the movement.
Right.
But in the 50s and the 60s, families in churches in mothers and fathers, single mothers and single fathers. We had love for each other. There was love in the community. People were concerned, and I don't well, no, I think it even I'll even go back. I'm not finished with this James Ben area Quilts piece, but I interviewed the executive director, and she said something very relevant. She said this community has been involved in quilting in history for 200 years.
Right.
We survived slavery,
Right.
Jim Crowism,
Exactly.
segregation,
Right.
and here we are now, thriving.
Right.
And there are over 40 museums around the world.
Right.
Not 40 museums in Alabama,
Right.
not 40 museums in the United States,
Right.
40 museums around the world who are embracing those quilts.
I just did a tour with Freedom.
Oh yeah, did she go down?
Yeah,
good.
Some interviews and what have you.
Good.
But I go back to this, Randy, that back in those days, Jim Crow days, fast forward to civil rights days, whatever, crossing the bridge. Drugs was here.
Yeah.
Drugs has been here.
And alcohol.
Alcohol has been here.
Some of us are drinking while we were marching.
Marijuana has been here with us. All this stuff has been here.
Right.
Maybe cocaine,
Yeah.
but it was something.
Billie Holiday died from a drug overdose of heroin
Exactly.
in the 40s.
Exactly. And so what has changed so dramatically that we don't no longer have the love for the ones that we should be loving on.
Well, again, I hate to say it, a lot of us are just plain on. Some of us have gotten lazy. We're taking a lot for granted. The doors of opportunity are wide open. The playing field is level. I still want to say the white man's got his foot on my neck.
Yeah.
I can't get up.
No.
What kind of a message is that to send to our young people? You can't get nothing done because the system got you down. What is that? And when you look up and you see all these black faces in positions of authority and power, and they're more oppressive than some of the white folks ever were. Now, what is that?
Now, there's 200 people in the court, downstairs,
right?
Maybe 3 of them. And of course, I'm not going to justify who is committing crime when you're not committing crime.
Don't tell me 3 of them were innocent.
3 of them were white people.
Oh.
so we take it, we hurting us.
Look, if you really want to put that thing in perspective, I tell people they need to go to Florida. Florida doesn't care what color you are.
Yeah.
You see, but the population is proportionate too, and so you see that if they get caught, they're committing the crime, and that's what's happening here.
Right.
Don't tell me I'm talking down about my people because 200 people are in the court. How did they get in the court system? Why are they in court? What is that? What you doing?
Of course, you're innocent.
Yeah, but what are you doing there? I remember when sometimes I stopped doing it because it's depressing to go down to the city court. I don't know if they still have court on Tuesday or not.
It's Tuesday,
one of them. Courtroom. I think Salam is I think he is the prosecutor there now. Courtroom full of folks. Failure to appear, and domestic violence. I'm told that many of those cases are girlfriends, women fighting over their boyfriends, and some girlfriends.
Yeah.
Domestic violence.
A population of 5.5 to each man. So
well, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? But my point is, don't point the finger at somebody else. We need to clean our act up. There's no other way around it. The only way to solve a problem is you have to admit that you got a problem first.
Until that happens,
nothing's gonna happen.
That's a conflict resolution.
And lastly, going back to what the young lady said in G's the executive director, she said that community got to the point of like I say, you tell me when you say no, and you can't do this and can't do that.
Dr. Reeves.
No. This is I'll have to pull the name up. She actually is the executive director for the organization has a different name, but they are the ones who are responsible for the area of the Quilts Festival. You know? And she said when you she's and there was people from all over the world there. She said when you tell us more, we can help it because we will overcome. You're not going to tell me I can't do something I know I'm qualified. The key word is qualified. See, we don't want credentials. I want you to give it to me simply because I'm black. Sorry, it don't work that way. What are the Chinese going to say? What are the Japanese going to say? You know, I heard a disturbing statistic this week that the Japanese per 100,000 people have 0.1 murders per 100,000 people in Japan.
Okay,
0.1 murders.
Hmm.
You know, and then you go to the city of Chicago or the United, or you know, we talk about this cultural thing, and I think it's something like 400 or 500 per 100,000.
Look at Dallas County. Look at Dallas County right here, Randy. What's the population here?
40,000.
Yeah, but
county. Talking under 20, around right at 20,000.
Most of the murders being done in the city of Selma. Right. In the last 10 years, we have lost over 200 young men to gun violence.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the white folks. The white folks are doing that.
To gun violence.
Yeah, it's the white politicians and the white policemen and the white district attorneys and the white judges. That's why the murder rate is so high.
And you got to confront about people like we did in front of City Hall saying, y'all got the wrong information. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. The only time we see you is at the murder scene.
They're in denial.
Exactly.
And if we don't wake up, it'll be with somebody related to us. And that's when we start waking up.
But I also want to say, on the flip side of this, Miami, the Alabama solution, massive screaming. On the flip side of this, we know you don't about it.
Right. You got some like Richard Pryor used to say.
But the flip side here,
so there's some folks that belong in prison.
Consequences involved.
Yeah. Right.
When you are placed in these situations.
Right.
You can't call the shots inside Alabama State Prison. They call the shots.
Right.
And so when you allow yourself to get in that environment, this is what happens.
But see, the rite of passage, it got to a point where going to prison, it almost become a rite of passage. Now, who was able to orchestrate, and how do we allow our communities to culturally embrace a rite of passage for manhood and now womanhood to be going through prison? And so they're saying, "Oh, I'm glad I want to go to prison." You know what I mean? That's my rite of passage. I don't know what kind of thinking that is. You know.
I'm in a prison every week, Randy.
I know you get
every
it.
Single week. Yes, sir. Prison.
Yeah.
I just came out of a federal prison.
That's got to be depressing.
Federal prison.
You know.
It's scary, Randy. Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah. How many of them are beginning to regret about some of the decisions they made and show up?
Over 90%.
Something
that happened.
Right.
I hear these stories all the time.
Right.
But you neglected your family for 20 years. I've got young men who like all this crazy stuff. You neglected the family for 15 years, 17 years. Now you're about to,
you have nowhere to go.
Exactly. You need a home plan. Right. Instead, Alabama's not going to promote you unless you have a home plan. Meaning, if you don't have a home plan, then you got to go to a halfway house.
Some people call that karma. You know, you reap what you sow. You're gonna reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. These are very real principles in life.
Right, exactly. That needs to be told from the pulpit.
Well, that's where it should start.
I believe in. I'm a Christian. I'm a minister of the gospel. I believe in preaching the word. I'm a word man.
Well, the word is really important.
I know that you got to deal with situations in your church. Because that word is going to the courthouse. His grandmother's a member of your church. His mother is a member of your church. She's paying tithes to your church. She's putting money in your hand. And you can't even go to the courtroom on her behalf.
It's not like it used to be. We got a couple of calls coming in. Okay, that call is on. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Excuse me? No, no, ma'am. No, Lydia Chapman may call us to talk about the event that's happening tomorrow, the Live It music series, but no. Look, let me hold it. Wait a minute. What is this program called? It's called Viewpoint. Everyone's viewpoint is welcome. I am not going to censor whatever. If we talk, if Reverend Bourne wants to talk for 40 minutes about one subject matter, that's his right. And it is not for me to infringe my viewpoints on him. And the answer is no. All right, thank you. All right. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
We got this talk. We here to promote. We are partners with the ordinary people of society. They call themselves tops. That was not the solution. Mass screening. So we have we've shown the compliments of HBO shown tonight. I don't know the time. This is footage. It came out of Alabama State Prison. Footage, raw footage that HBO put together. It is on tonight. So
that sounds
pretty showing this here.
It's coming Sunday here.
What we serve. Right now, Randy, I've got 7 tickets that I'm giving out.
Now, if you don't have a ticket, is it going to be a cost for the dinner, or how's that going to work? Oh, okay. You may
ticket to have a dinner.
You may end up giving some away at the event. Well, you see, Reverend. So what I'm saying is, many times in our communities, we are in denial, and we don't want to hear the negative. That's why Condan can do well.
That's why we got 200 people in the courtroom.
I don't know why people can't.
200 people in the courtroom.
I don't understand. Now, and I'll tell you something on the flip side of that. I remember Judge Collins Pettaway. They sponsored. I've forgotten the name of the program, but you could go in and get your tickets and your record expunged and all of that. There were hundreds of people who took advantage of that. So that tells me that there are a lot of people that do care and who do want to do something different. But you have to want to do better.
You can't go up there, you can't vote.
And again, I keep telling folks, it's the simple things that get us a lot of times. Do not underestimate. Get you up here. If you're supposed to go to court for a court date, go to court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you get a ticket, address it.
Right.
Talk to me. Talk to the folks.
Right.
At least show up. Or you go to jail for 5 or 10 years for something you could have worked out.
Exactly. Would you go up to the courthouse and tell them, hey?
But if I'm in denial, I'm telling my people, we don't have a problem. White folks, you need to spend your time worrying about what white folks are doing.
Exactly.
While they handcuffing me to 5 or 10 years in prison.
Yeah. Well, that's the first thing. You're not. I'm not here.
That's a hard attitude to crack.
Exactly.
But we got to crack it though.
Exactly.
We got to try. Well, I don't know. I see if Jesus Christ couldn't do it, who am I? You know what I'm saying? The Jesus can
We got to do better, man. We got to do better. We got to have a message to our people, man. You got to have a message.
No, but we have
to. Message Sunday morning's okay. It's okay for you to talk about Jesus too.
Yeah, but you got to live
talk
it.
About all day.
Yes, sir. No doubt.
You got to keep your message grounded so you never touch the man that's going out the door. He's not going to hear what you got to say.
Right.
He's not because Mama invited him.
Right.
And they're serving dinner that day. So
that's
you got to meet him, man.
Where is that? Like she said, you got to meet them where they are. Outreach. That's why it's called outreach.
Outreach.
You got to know how to do that. No doubt.
Because the basketball court, they try to get that hoop. Their perspective is way beyond yours. They try to get that ball to that hoop. You are standing looking out of it. You don't have a message.
It's a funny thing. I thought about it yesterday. I probably shouldn't get into it too deep, but I have to say it. And that is, I remember when the Freedom Foundation came, and Mark. You know how they reached our people? With basketball tournaments.
Yeah.
They started playing basketball.
I remember him and Franklin playing ball.
They would go down and to the people to where they were at. That's why they were so effective at recruiting.
Yeah.
But so was Jim Jones.
Yeah.
You know, in
In
Jonestown.
Los Angeles, yeah.
And
Where
then
he started there.
And all the black people that committed suicide with him.
All the way back into Ghana.
See, if I went back to Ghana, we better learn our history.
Almost 1,000 people.
Dead.
Time magazine had them so built up. I remember that picture right now back in 81. Blew up so like busting their jeans it was in.
See, that's what happens when we allow ourselves to be in denial and cover it up. But the lie has become almost normalized.
Well, I call it income.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I agree with that. No doubt. Yes, sir. No doubt. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Yes, sir. How are you this morning? Doing fine. What's happening? What's on your mind this morning? That's real simple. Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, and so I know people a lot of times what we're talking about, first of all, is truth.
Yeah.
And truth is not easily accepted, and it's not always popular. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what you need to know. And that's where I'm at. I'll tell you what you need to know. And so for those, again, it's very interesting. What puzzles me is now, how is it that President Trump can broker, and hopefully it holds up on Monday and Tuesday, how is it that he can broker a deal between Hamas and Israel, the government shut down? Democrats and Republicans can't talk, but Hamas and Israel can come to terms for peace. What is that? That's crazy. That's crazy. I hate you so much, and so I'd rather see my people suffer than to try and build a relationship with you so that everybody does well. Because I'm in that self-hate mode, and if you check, I wouldn't be surprised. Those would be some of the same folks that are heavily involved in domestic violence. They're abusing their spouses. They're abusing their children. They're abusing their parents. Same kind of thing. So that's the nature of the beast.
I remember, working in New York City. I wanted to specialize in the work that I did, but we used to have to actually go and sit in the court. We had to complete so many hours.
Wow, I bet that was crazy.
So many hours in the courtroom listening to cases. And I said, wow, what's all this happening? People allow all this stuff to happen.
Just really go on, huh? Yeah. Too much drama. Some of us are addicted to drama. Yeah, that's what we like. That's what some of us like. We want to live like that.
And the word hate is no longer across the street.
Right.
The word hate is right here.
It's internalized.
Yeah, it's not here.
Yeah. Well, look at Montgomery. It'll be interesting to see who the suspects are and what they come up with there. Just last month, the police chief in Birmingham, after the 70 or 80-year-old woman was murdered, sitting on her porch, minding her own business, he said, "We can do better than this."
So we had this done right here, right across the street in Ada about 7 years ago. But they shot the woman was a girl. I do remember that lady.
Yeah.
In the house.
So we need to try and figure out a way to clean things up and get in control of this thing before it gets out of control locally. We are not doing it. In the world, are they doing Portland? Oh man, it's a lot of things that power.
Well, we try to part of it too. We say the police department. Okay, we hate that word in times of that's a good one. But let's face it, they cannot do everything. They can have solved every crime in the street.
They can't predict when you're going to shoot somebody, when somebody's going to get stabbed. You know, it's not,
Exactly.
I tell them it's not gun control, it's self-control.
Right.
You know.
See, so when they showed up, it's 9 of the 7 times just after the fact.
Right.
Somebody made the call.
Right.
They show up.
Right.
Okay. So we have to, whether you like it or not, try to work with our police department because they're there to.
Well, even the criminals, and I've known some. I hate that. I'm not going to say I hate them. I've known some real good people who were felons, who lived a life of crime. And I guarantee you, guess who the first person is they call when some trouble comes up? The police. I said, hold it, wait a minute. What you doing calling the police?
They call the police.
They call the police first.
Yeah, they call the
and
police.
And complain when they don't call.
Yeah. I remember when myself and late president, mayor, beat the police to the spot. I got a call, and then somebody in his office called me,
right? And
he wanted to know where the location was. I just so happened I know
you were already there, yeah.
And I said, so we got to the location before the police.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's crazy.
Man,
but I know what you're talking about. So, but anyway,
man, we gotta do better,
you know, we can do better. You know.
But I'm also would like you to come on Alabama Solutions mass screening Soul Food Sunday Summer, October the 12th at 1 p.m. Come on and have dinner with us, and come on and enjoy the screening of this live footage of Alabama State prisons. What happens, what transpires, and HBO is showing it tonight. I believe I don't know the time, but HBO documentary.
Yeah, well, it want to be easy to find that out, and I may be able to pull that up too.
It's on tonight. Mm-hmm. By the way, we got 7 free tickets that we're giving out to you. Like to come here, got a nice dinner before the movie. You could just get in touch with us, and we'll go from there.
Well, Reverend, thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing this to our attention. I want to see this myself, the Alabama solution.
Right.
You know, we certainly have some issues that we need to be able to.
Well, you got a free ticket, right?
Who said there's no free lunch? Okay. Well, thank you. We'll talk to you later. And to give our best to Brother Muhammad.
Yeah, man, I saw him this past week, so he's coming along.
Well, good. He's making progress.
He's making progress.
Well, that's good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to take this break, and I'll be back with more after these messages. I need to play a little catch up, and so let's start playing a little catch up with some of these commercials right after this.
Pepsi, baby. Again, this burgers, Yang, burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice cold cola a journey to Utopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Since the recent storms, there's been a lot of interest in backup generators. Did you know there's a local business that sells, installs, and maintains Generac generators? You know, it's pretty when the electricity is out for days or even weeks at a time. A Generac generator will automatically come on and run your home or business when there's a power outage, and it might be more affordable than you think to have one. Adam Brady at Brady Construction offers standby Generac generators, portable generators, power washers, plus the parts and accessories. Brady Construction can order, install, and maintain your equipment. Low interest financing options available right now from Synchrony Bank or other local lenders.
I'm Adam Brady. Call me and see how easy it can be to have a quality Generac generator for your home or business. That's Adam Brady, Brady Construction, 334-419-0577. That's 334-419-0577.
Did you know that Alabama has the highest rate of cardiovascular disease events, including death, hospitalizations, and emergency department visits among all 50 states? According to American Health Rankings, over 12% of adults in Alabama have been diagnosed with the disease. That's well above the national average. That's why we're spreading the word about Alabama vascular specialists here at Radio. Also, ABS is growing better certifications of this area. Dr. Ralph Red has recently added Dr. Burrow and Mike Giddens to the staff, and now ABS proudly welcomes Dr. Richard Tan, who has just arrived from New York. If you or someone you love suffers from high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, or obesity, they could be on their way to very serious problems with their vascular system if not treated. Talk to your medical provider about ABS, Alabama Vascular Specialist. The office is in Montgomery and Silver, 334-801-9952. Online at AlabamaVascularSpecialist.com.
Don't wait another day. Don't wait to get sick. The vaccination destinations for Brown Drug, Dallas Everything Pharmacy, MedCenter Pharmacy, and Valley Grade Pharmacy at Dave's Market. Get the flu and pneumonia vaccines now before flu season arrives. And if you haven't had the shingles vaccine, now is the time. And you can get all of the vaccines at any of our convenient locations. If you haven't heard, the prescription laws have changed in Alabama, which now allows local pharmacies to be even more competitive with the national chains. The requirements of most insurance companies. If you had to give up your local pharmacy for a big box store, now is the time to come back home to your locally owned pharmacy. Brown Drug, Dallas Avenue Pharmacy, MedCenter Pharmacy, and Valley Grade Pharmacy inside Dave's Market. Locally owned with pharmacists that know you by name. Caring for you and about you. All part of the Brown Drug family of locally owned pharmacies. Saturday, don't miss Auburn football.
There he goes. He goes down there to the 11.
The Georgia football. 3:30 p.m. on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
We're Thomas Reeves at the co-op store. Thomas, tell me about these new wildlife feeders you got here.
Yes, sir. The co-op's your one-stop shop for anything you need to get those deer drawn in, the secret spot, fresh draw, wildlife feeders, trunk feeders, moultrie, broadcast feeders, and boss boat deputy feeders. So really something in every shape and size. And we got the feed to go in it.
And remember, everybody's welcome at the co-op store. The weather is great. Why not? Today's market has fantastic buys on black selected beef, boneless New York strip steak, the family pack. Now just $7.45 a pound. Maybe it's time to slow smoke some of those St. Louis style spare ribs at only $2.54 a pound. Russet potatoes, 2 4-pound bags, just $3. 6 ears of fresh corn, just $3. That's what we always say. You shop and save when you shop today. Highway 22, Valley Grant.
Hi, this is Davis Henry with the Alabama Wildlife Federation. I'm excited to announce it's time for the Selma County Wild Game Cook-Off. It will be held October the 30th at a new venue. We are moving to the AWF Pavilion at the Super. I hope everyone will come out and enjoy a great night along the banks of the Alabama River. Purchase tickets, just go by the Central Alabama Farmers Co-op. The cost is $50 per ticket and lets 2 people in. Gates open at 6 p.m. Come out and support the Alabama Wildlife Federation and help us continue to educate our youth about the great outdoors.
1490 WHBB, good morning, 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. And so let me say this, like I say, we welcome first-time callers. We welcome those who call us on a regular basis. We welcome your views if you agree with us. If you disagree with us, I don't care what your persuasion is or your viewpoint, you're more than welcome. But let me say this also. One thing I'm going to stop doing is when people call. If you want to call and challenge me, right? Make sure you have your facts with you, because you may get embarrassed. I'm going to start getting ready. Just to be able to answer these unfounded criticisms, because we're in a real serious situation, not just in Selma or Alabama, but nationwide, globally. And again, my point is, how is it? You mean to tell me that politically, Hamas and Israel are on the verge of having, the ceasefire, I understand, is in place. And so 72 hours from now, hopefully, the hostages will be released. And peace in the Middle East is on the horizon. How long it lasts, well, that nobody, unless you have a crystal ball, can tell us that. All I can do is hope and pray that region finds ways to grapple with its problems other than violence, right? And so the President Trump, and I know white people that don't like Mr. Trump. So it's not a racial thing, right? It's a lot of it is political. But how is it that President Donald Trump can broker a deal for peace in the Middle East? It hadn't happened in 3,000 years, right? But you can't. But Democrats and Republicans can't sit down and come to an agreement to open the government up long enough to sit down and talk. And there's something wrong with that picture. Now you say, oh well, no, you can't tell me that that's normal. The other thing that really is beginning to bother me also is I'm watching a lot of these sound bites that I hear and see from different media, and a lot of these elected politicians that I know they're lying through their teeth, but it's gotten to the point of where it's normal. It's become normal. It's normal. The people lying so often until it has become it's normalized. They like it's not even a thing anymore. I just lie because they're underestimating the intelligence of the general public. And then the other thing that puzzles me also is okay. And again, I'm not Democrat, Republican, or Independent. I'm nonpartisan. But elections have consequences. So why is it that all of these forces are working so hard to undermine the will of the people? President Trump got a mandate. The policies got a mandate. The people clearly said, we don't want an illegal alien process to dominate. We don't want illegal immigrants coming into the country and getting the benefits that taxpayers or American taxpayers have worked for to give them to people who don't even belong here legally. That was probably the number one issue. The other issue that people, other than the economy was a big one too. But there are a lot of cultural issues. Like, don't push down my throat as a parent that you want to try and find a way to make my children embrace transgenderism. The LGBTQ plus agenda was rejected. And I'd be more concerned about school systems that are in the process or attempting to implement that type of philosophy. Again, my position on that is, you can be introduced to sex too early. It can destroy your life. You introduce sex to a child too early, and they may never recover from it. What are we thinking about? Shoot, some of us can't handle a beer at 12 years old, let alone anything other than a beer. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, to me, it's common sense. A Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Well, Florida is right in the cemetery by now.
Yeah, I don't know what they I don't well again I don't know why they're in such denial of the violence that is happening in Chicago. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Now, I don't Chicago don't have how they're going to try to look there, though. But it seems like the Florida gets for the illegal is going down now. But they're illegal down there. Well, this would be a Democrat politician, and he's not like it. The more crime they have, the more money you get for Minnesota. Well, Trump, he's going to check that idea and solve it himself. And then we ain't going to think about it because that idea is they're getting tired of it. I mean, well, that's the way for Americans, for Americans, the one need to do it too. They ain't good, they ain't good.
I don't know how to get away with it. I don't get it. I don't know how to get away with it.
And I think we go there and get the notice and go along with it. I mean, they can do this stuff. I mean, I can figure it out. They never got a lot of trouble. Now we're going to be social work. So I got to figure out.
Well, thank you. In fact, I'm getting ready to play a clip because uh, my interest is not was obvious when I look and listen to these politicians deny a problem. I don't know if they're getting paid, or I don't know if there's corruption involved, or if they just have blinders on, or what. But I know a lot of the mainstream media is focusing on the governor and the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago. But let's see. I want to see what the people have to say. And I'm going to play this. Let's listen to what some of the folks in Chicago have to say about what's going on, huh? Well, that's not. That's one I want. But that's from the summer. I don't want to do the summer. I want to. I want to do this week. I want. I want to get up to date. I don't want to do anything that's too old. I want to. I want to do the. I want you to hear with how people are reacting to what's happening in Chicago as of this attempt to help clean up some of these neighborhoods that are victims of violence. See, if we talk a lot of job and we're in the comfort of our home, but I'm talking about people that have to deal with this thing. They have to live with this thing every day. I'm not so insensitive and so blind to what they're going through. But I want to share this with you so you can see this is not me. This is not Randy Williams. This is Chicago talking. Listen, I'm not going to play all of it, but you get the gist of it. The people that live on the ground have quite a different story to tell from the mayor and the governor. And I even saw one or two other politicians say, well, if you take them out, I'm going to step up and do the same thing. But what about the people? The other thing, I want to keep in mind, let's do a little quick history lesson. One of the most dangerous racist places that Dr. King experienced was Chicago. All you got to do is look at the footage right outside Chicago. When people marched from Selma to Montgomery, when they had the night march in Marion, Alabama, and Jimmy Lee Jackson was shot, the march that Albert Turner Sr. led, and then the Bloody Sunday and the march from Selma to Montgomery and the signing of the Voting Rights Act, it was not done with the goal being to put people in office that were unresponsive to the needs of the community. It was not done to line the pockets of politicians and to create paychecks for people that care nothing about the community. But I'm afraid that is what has happened. And the other thing is, when I look at all these different groups, I thank God for what I know and for the people that I've met. I thank God for having been friendly with and have had sit-down conversations with Dr. C.T. Vivian and with Reverend James Orange and with Albert Turner. See, these are people that I've talked with and who told me a lot, and Miss Richie Jean Jackson. You know, her home is where Dr. King, uh, 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 that's where he lived when he came to Selma. And I'll never forget when I first got acquainted with Miss Jackson, she called me on the radio. She called me one day after Viewpoint, and because she knew me and her daughter were friends, Joanna, and she said, "Mr. Williams, I'm familiar with your skills, and I know what you can do, and I need your help. Will you help me edit my book, The House by the Side of the Road?" And I said yes. And so that's just and I later ended up becoming her photographer and PR person. But the information that was shared with me, you know, that I learned was just invaluable and priceless. So many of these organizations that I see, well, you just heard this guy say that they're paid protesters, but they're using techniques that prove to be effective and successful during the civil rights and voting rights movement. But they were not paid protesters in the 1960s, you know, and they were not violent either. And Dr. King did not promote violence. So we're under a lot of false. We have just a lot of false narratives, you know, that are being promoted as if they are what they are, you know. So that's what I say. So don't present that in front of me. You may get your feelings hurt because I'm going to throw back with some facts. Now let's see. We're going to take a break, but let me take a call first, and then we'll take this break. And I got one more clip I want to share with you and localize things a little bit. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned Richard Gene mandate. When we first got the voters' rights activity of the Jubilee started, that was a couple of years, I think, after I returned here. I kept saying over on the radio what we needed to do, get various things. But the house by the side of the road was a poem that I recommend that Mr. Perkins adopt as a friend. And she would hear, I'm sure, me singing the house by the road, by the side of the road, being one of my dearest anthem. You know how you need to have an anthem in life in order to see what direction you're going in. So that was one that I had to learn for the organization. And it always stuck by me. And when I suggested it to Mr. Perkins, I didn't know Gene was realizing that would be a great name for her.
Well, now let me kind of put that in perspective, because she told me the reason why she chose that name was because of all of the famous people who had lived in her house and had visited her home, and the fact that, for instance, Ralph Bunche and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the only two African American Nobel Peace Prize winners, had breakfast at her kitchen table. So she wanted to share. She said all the house by the side of the road had all of these famous people that came in working on different projects. That's why she used that name.
Okay, great. I'm glad to work with, you know, in the radio and resonate on that for a few years and still on it, because what year did you do the book? Back in 2008?
It was before 2015, because I remember it was before Obama came. I don't remember the exact year. I have to look at it and see. Yeah, it was before Obama came, and oh boy, like I said, and then she shared some things with me that she would not share publicly, and I still will not betray her confidence even after her death. You know, let's take this break, and I'll be back with more as we begin to wind up after these messages.
Dave's Market now makes and sells delicious hot Hunt Brothers pizza. One topping or 10, the price is the same. That's right, no extra charge for extra toppings. And yes, Dave's also makes and sells Hunt Brothers wings too. Both are delicious. Call the store at 334-431-5267 and place your order. They'll bring it up to you, or have them make it like you want it while you're shopping in the store. Hunt Brothers Pizza, now at Dave's Market, Highway 22, Valley Grant.
Bad weather? Under the weather. Relax at home. Your meds are on the way at Pilcher McBride Drug Company.
We never want a busy day or a rainy day to keep you from getting the meds you need. That's why we bring our store to your door. Our citywide prescription delivery program helps you stay on track with your medication regimen without ever leaving the house. Give us a call today at 334-875-7208.
Yeah, we got them at Meadows Tire and Automotive. A huge selection of tires in all styles and sizes from top name brands like Hercules, Kenda, Michelin, Goodyear, and others. Plus, we're your auto repair shop too, specializing in brakes, oil changes, alignments, suspensions, and more. Service, quality, selection, and more. Our deals you won't believe. Meadows Tire and Automotive, 2897 Citizens Parkway in Selma. Call or text us at 334-875-7276.
Chefs around the world will tell you there are lots of ways to cook U.S. farm-raised catfish.
See, like German catfish. And like the Tuscan catfish. Perhaps the catfish, but they also come from Caribbean catfish. I quite prefer a poached Cajun catfish. Also, teriyaki broiled catfish. Arigato.
Yep, U.S. farm-raised catfish means good eating everywhere. Check out all the great ways to prepare U.S. farm-raised catfish from the Catfish Institute at uscatfish.com.
Banking the way it should be at First Copper Bank means you never have to worry about the season or the weather with online banking. It's always there. Always on 24/7, 365, even on holidays.
I'm Richard Walters, president of First Cahaba Bank, here to let you know that all online banking resources have been invaluable to our First Cahaba customers. Although our offices are open, personal and business customers have discovered how convenient and easy it has become to manage financial resources without having to come inside the bank. And all online services, including mobile banking app, are free. Visit firstcahaba.com to get all the information. Feel free to call any of our locations in Selma, Troy, or Shores for any questions or information. Banking the way it should be at First Cahaba Bank means we are constantly focused on the very latest technology for customer convenience and overall. We will First Cahaba Bank.
14. Today's with me at the moment. But on late, I noticed I don't watch all the time, but I do get a chance to watch time to time. I have to compliment George McDonald for the story you did on the people that saved the man in the burning house. You know, that was a positive story. You know, which I'm so seeing drug addiction and rape and you name every murder and mayhem, you know, in prison life and all that kind of stuff. But really, do I see positive stories about black men? And there was 3 black men involved that saved a man's life that they didn't have to their own to save his. Thought that was positive. There was Charles Lee has an organization in Montgomery. I played it earlier. I'll play it again. Because I'm not going to just tell you something. I'm going to prove what I say. And I want folks that just want to call and throw bricks and bring it on. But if you get your feelings hurt, don't say I didn't tell you. I didn't warn you. Well, and I bring that up because of you know, the conversations we've had, and 1 or 2 particular callers like to shift the responsibility and are in denial, in my opinion, about the fact that black youth have problems. I'm no, white youth have problems too, different kinds of problems. But as Mr. Lee said, he's tired of the politics and he's tired of the black and white issues. He said, but when he turned the corner Saturday night in Montgomery, downtown Montgomery, during the mass shooting, and he's been on the street 18 years trying to help youth, all he saw was black teens. Tell him that they don't have a problem. You tell him that. I'd hate to see his response. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. You better tell him that from a distance, because he's a man sounds like and looks, and I've been watching him for a while too. Plus, I think somebody had the nerve to imply that I hadn't mentioned anything about the groups in Chicago that had done work. I have to go into my archives. That's how far behind they are from me. And I've got it already. So still up on the website in the Selma Post Herald YouTube channel. I've got a couple of interviews that were done with people in Chicago who were making a difference, but they were shunned. They were shunned by the media, and they were not given the proper financing. And now we know why. Because the money was going to illegal immigrants because they're a sanctuary city. We got under 3 minutes, caller. You got about 60 seconds. Okay, that caller is gone. So I'm just saying, folks, I got a whole lot more information I want to share. It's food for thought. The good news is that we can do something about improving the conditions of our neighborhoods. You know, the glass is half full, not half empty. But I refuse to be in denial. And we need to listen to our young people too when they need help. And we need to care about them. Don't give that fake phony love. Act like you care. You know, I want to win an argument. I'm not worried about coming up with a real solution. I want to win an argument. You know, and I have plenty of solutions, but whether or not they're accepted or not, now that's a whole nother. At the end of the day, my biggest solution to all these problems we're having in our community, as I said earlier, is turn back to God. Now, I know a whole lot of folks don't want to hear that. You don't believe in the power of prayer. You don't believe God is real, but he's real now. And even an atheist, I think, is wise, would recognize the value of having a moral standard. Maybe some of the murder and people having all this insensitivity to life will come to an end if we go back to giving people, planting a seed for people to have what? A conscience. Now, I just said something profane, huh? For some. If you don't believe in peace and prosperity, I don't know what to say. But except that you welcome your participation and welcome your views, but don't get mad if you get your feelings hurt. Anyway, I'll say that in love. Have yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend and day. Weather's beautiful this weekend. Strong Street. Oh, you better go by to the corner of Highway 80 and Kingsman Road. They got the best food in the world, huh? Stay tuned for Fox News on WHBB Selma. It's 10 o'clock.
Fox News. When President Trump left the White House a short time ago to go to Walter Reed Medical Center for a medical checkup he calls routine, and then a meeting with troops there. And in a few days, he plans to travel to Israel. As a ceasefire the president brokered for Gaza is in effect, Palestinians are walking along the waterfront in an exodus back to war-torn neighborhoods they fled. Israeli troops have pulled back to a predetermined line, complying with the deal, putting Hamas on the clock.
Hamas now has 72 hours to release all 48 hostages, 20 living, 28 assumed to be dead. They've got to free those hostages if it holds to deadline by 5 a.m. Eastern on Monday. Prime Minister Netanyahu earlier addressed the nation today. He once again stressed that Hamas has to not only release all 48 hostages,